my friends, the first thing I want to say is that we have this story from Vogue. Emily Ratajkowski talks about how she essentially despised her own husband and son, and it is some of the creepiest trash I've ever seen from a woke cultist. This woman, wow, is it scary what she's saying about her own kid and the guy who gave her the kid. But I will say,
filthy white guy.
If you like Emily Ratajkowski, more power to you. I'm not a fan. She's made a career off of like whenever some tragedy happens, she posts a nude. And I'm like, I get it. You know,
thank you.
People like, yeah, sure, great. Like people like looking at a naked lady. I get it. But I'm just like, I think it's kind of, look, if you want to be an Instagram model and you
She's been in movies though. Was she in a Bond film? She's been in a few movies.
I don't know. Look.
I saw that Robin Thicke video, and I was like, she is so hot.
Robin Thicke,
every picture I see her, she looks miserable. I'm like, oh.
But listen.
Beautiful
I'm
people.
trying to point out, I got no beef. You like the lady, by all means. That's your thing. For me, not my thing. That's fine. I like the Instagram models that aren't shoving politics down my throat and telling me they hate their white husbands. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you want,
good luck.
If you want to get naked on Instagram. And you want to, post racy photos and be really sexy and all that stuff. I enjoy it. I love it. The issue, however, is when you do it when there's like a school shooting, and then you're like, I'm going to get naked now. It's like, maybe
she didn't do that though.
I'm not saying her. I'm saying I'm just giving like I'm being hyperbolic. I'm not saying she did that. I'm just pointing out
not to stump for a stupid Hollywood,
to bring attention to like a tragedy. They'll get naked and be like, look.
There are a few people that do
this
that.
matters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they'll do really weird, like I don't even want to get into some of the creepy things some of these people do. But check this out from Vogue. Emily Ratajkowski on pregnancy and why she doesn't want to reveal the gender of her baby. All right, well, let's read the first, the first paragraph, and then I want to show you the craziest part of this. She says, when my husband and I tell friends I'm pregnant, their first question after congratulations is almost always, do you know what you want? We like to respond that we won't know the gender until our child is 18 and that they'll let us know then. Everyone laughs at this. There is a truth to our line, though one that hints at possibilities that are much more complex than whatever genitalia our child might be born with. The truth that we ultimately have no idea who rather than what is growing inside my belly. Who will this person be? What kind of person will we become parents to? How will they change our lives and who we are? It is a wondrous and terrifying concept, one that renders us both helpless and humbled. I just want to pause. Your child becomes what you raise it to be. When you place your child in certain environments, when you tell your child certain things, they become like you. They imitate you. How is it that we're in this place now where people are like, I'm going to have a kid and I have no idea what the kid will end up thinking or believing?
I know why.
So interesting how kids tend to have the same religion as their parents. How did that happen? Magic, I guess.
Why do you think, Lydia?
It's because they're following the blank slate theory. They're following constructivism, and they think that everyone is born with absolutely no inclinations or tendencies, and the society around them shapes them to be whatever.
You guys ready for this?
Interesting.
Here we go. My friend who is the mother to a 3-year-old boy tells me that she didn't think she cared about gender until her doctor broke the news that she was having a son. She burst into tears in her office.
What a terrible thing.
And then I continued to cry for a whole month, she says matter-of-factly. After a difficult birth experience, she developed postpartum depression and decided that she resented her husband more than she'd ever imagined possible. So I'll clarify. I misconstrued what I read earlier. She's talking about somebody else. So it's not her.
Oh.
She told me that she particularly hated, and she made an actual physical list that she kept in her journal, editing it daily, how peacefully he slept. There is nothing worse than the undisturbed sleep of a white man in a patriarchal world. She shakes her head. Preach. It was hard to come to terms with the fact that I was bringing yet another white man into the world, but now I adore him and can't imagine it any other way. She also eventually learned to love her husband again. The sound of his perfect sleep next to her at night is now tolerable. Oh, just tolerable.
Well, that's a.
So I'll clarify. I was wrong. I when I first read this paragraph, I mistakenly assumed it was coming from Emily herself. She's telling a story about somebody else. I didn't realize she had written this about
the news will
else.
do that.
She's probably talking about herself, though.
Well, she doesn't have a 3-year-old, though.
Yeah,
Look,
I have a lot of friends
but hold
on.
But hold on. We're not done yet. She says, despite my apprehensions about having a boy, when I call my best friend to tell her I'm pregnant, we both immediately agree on our shared instinct. I'm carrying a boy. I'm picturing a dark-haired son, my friend tells me over FaceTime. I don't know why. I can just see it. I nod and study the red fabric of my couch, trying to imagine a baby boy's tiny body lying next to my thigh. I thought she said she won't know the gender of her son until it's 18.
I hate this.
She changes her
I hate
tunes.
all of this.
Everyone has opinions on what to expect from a boy or a girl. Boys develop slower. They're more work than girls as toddlers, but they love their moms so much. One friend tells me girls mature faster but are so sensitive. It sounds like she's talking about biological sex differences.
It sounds like she wanted to abort her baby because it was a boy.
Yep.
It sounds like she at least considered it.
Yep.
Like, she's not talking about how difficult girls are. She's saying that, oh God, a boy, man, let's just take a couple of pills and
She when she's writing about what people say about boys and how they develop, she's criticizing the idea of biological sex differences. She says, I don't necessarily fault anyone for these generalizations. A lot of our life experiences are gendered, and it would be dishonest to try and deny the reality of many of them. But I don't like that we force gender-based preconceptions onto people, let alone babies. I want to be a parent who allows my child to show themselves to me. And yet I realize that while I may hope my child can determine their own place in the world, they will, no matter what, be faced with the undeniable constraints and constructions of gender before they can speak of, hell, even be born. I don't think it's the worst article in the world, to be completely honest. I disagree with her. But I can respect at least she recognizes there are some legitimate differences between boys and girls. The problem is there are stark differences. It is fair when she points out a lot of the things we tell to our kids are based on social constructs. This is true. Like, you decide to give a kid certain things. However, boys still gravitate towards certain things, spatial awareness type of projects, construction, building, and young girls towards social.
Which is why they like
that.
dolls, because it's like communication.
I mean, boys have action figures, but they play with them differently, right?
Yeah,
Pew, 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 pew. Is it? It's
set them up.
Is it
so
possible? Testosterone, we know, is tied to aggression. Prenatal testosterone is going to affect the attitudes and desires of young boys, and not only that, but for the most part, 98.3% of boys or girls are going to gravitate towards social things they see from boys and girls.
Did you guys have micro machines?
Oh,
Hell
definitely,
yeah, dude.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah. Hell
No,
yeah.
so I mean, like
the
toys
video
I
game on NES is actually really good.
it was.
Really,
micro
really good.
machines,
Yeah.
where you have
You
like
could
the little
put-
tracks
and
and doing
boats.
loop-de-loops and stuff.
The boats are good
The
too.
boat
Yeah.
level.
The boats are
That's
good.
good.
Classic.
You should get it. You should try it out someday.
Yeah, I think it's a gold cart. One of those rare like NES, like Link had a gold cart. Oh no, it was the ones that like were rounded on the end. Anyway,
Interesting.
Micro Machines, good NES game.
But boys like things like fast moving. This is a gross generalization, but and this
You
also
should be
brings me to
ashamed.
when they
is-
give
listen.
boys blue and girls pink. What's that all about?
This is what one of
Yeah.
the things that we talked about the other day.
I don't hate that. I don't hate questioning that kind of thing.
Blue
I-
and pink.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Like a lot of
Right.
parents now do yellow, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or green.
The-
I
the-
mean,
Yellow
is
or
it-
green.
The issue is the
yeah.
idea that it's either completely constructivism or completely essentialism. It's mostly essential. It's like
Yeah.
it's like mostly people are boys are born and have predispositions.
This is like nature versus nurture.
Right.
So like you're born with a nature and then you're nurtured
Mm-hmm.
around that genetic. Like there's lateral and horizontal gene translation. So like you're born with genes, but then your genes can change responsive to your environment as you grow.
This
Right.
is listen.
Right, right.
This is partly we talked about this bit the other day about how, and I think you might agree, Jeremy. I'll get your opinion on this.
Thank you.
They talk about feminism, but my argument has always been that feminism absolutely has disdain for femininity because they're advocating for females to adhere to traditional masculine roles.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Well,
So,
third
like-
wave feminism.
Right,
is,
right.
Yeah, third wave
Well,
feminism.
all
is
feminism always.
is misandry.
No. Listen, all feminism always has been like women should be able to do the things that men do. It's not been men should do the things that women do. Like we mentioned this the other day. Where's the narrative where it's like men should be in the home with kids? There is a narrative that women should be the CEOs of big companies. There's a narrative of men can be with kids.
Yeah.
But the traditionally feminine role and the things that we often see expressed by young girls are like shoved aside and we're told basically not to do those things.
That's third wave feminism.
No, that's feminism in general.
Well,
I was
third
told-
wave is, to me, feminism, first and second wave were basically that men and women are equal.
That was what I was taught growing up.
And then like third wave was more like actually there's not enough women in CEO positions and you know the women's soccer team who lost to a 15-year-old boys team should be paid the same as the US men's.
They
Like,
should.
Yeah, if they generate as much money, they should.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
100%. If they fill up a stadium, I 100% agree.
They do, though.
In the World Cup.
Right.
Yeah, that's it, though.
We-
no
we-
one
we-
gives
we-
a shit otherwise.
We talked about this before, too.
A shiza.
We talked about this before. That's still swearing.
Ah.
That's
Alemania.
some people didn't agree, but I was like, dude, it's marketing. If Serena Williams can generate millions of dollars in women's tennis,
She does, though.
absolutely.
Yeah, people
and then
pay to
she
see
makes
her.
more money than the male tennis players.
Almost all of them.
So
Yeah.
let's have that conversation. Like, how much does Serena make compared to how much some of these men make, and should they complain about it?
Men don't complain.
This is the
who's
point.
the biggest male tennis player right now?
Federer?
Could you name
Federer?
one?
Is it Federer?
I don't
Come on,
know.
he's 100.
Roger Federer?
He's 100.
Yeah, give me like a.
I don't know. I don't know anything about tennis.
Exactly.
The only thing I know is Serena Williams, man.
Right, me too.
She's a superstar.
Yeah. Oh, what's the hot? I mean, the traditionally
I don't
attractive
know.
blonde.
Traditionally
yes, you
attractive
do.
blonde.
Yes, you
I
do.
don't know their names, dude.
Nanatilova. Or,
Yeah, it was some
yeah.
Russian lady.
yeah. She was never very good at tennis, but she generated a lot of money because she was smoking hot
Interesting.
by traditional standards. I don't think she was attractive. But
I don't know tennis players, man.
Martina. But
Oh,
anyway,
yeah,
yeah.
Martina Navratilova.
I know.
or something.
What's her name? Megan Rapinoe, the soccer player
the
lady.
Purple
pink-haired feminist soccer player that
Yeah.
whines about gender wage gap. She was in the White House this week talking
Yeah,
about.
talking about wage gap stuff.
Yeah.
If it's true that they're selling out stadiums and they're not
They're
getting
not
the
though.
same,
They're not.
they're not.
No, they're not
I-
selling
I-
jerseys. They're not, because really, when you look at sports, especially now in a post-Coof era, you're not even putting butts in seats anymore.
Right.
You're selling
Yeah.
jerseys. You're selling digital game passes now.
NFTs.
Ian, somebody needs to explain those to me after.
All right, no.
I don't wanna get into it.
Non-fungible token is
Yeah,
what it
we're
is.
not
We're
right
talking about
now.
something else.
After the show.
Let's do a crypto show.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
like roast a.
Well, I think we already did a crypto show.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my argument is simple. If they sell the tickets, then they should negotiate better contracts.
I agree with you,
and
but
so
they
when,
don't.
when they come out and they're like, this is sexism, it's like, well, dude, you negotiated the contract. So negotiate a different contract.
Well, haven't we won this argument? It's not a.
No,
oh,
no, you don't understand. There are people in media who lie, who are
Well,
dumb,
yes.
and there are dumb people who believe the
The
lies.
Well,
dumbness,
yeah,
the
but
dumbness
I-
constantly cycles
I
back
know,
forever.
but I mean, like,
you'll always be witness to it again.
For the last 10 years, it's been like my dunk arm is sore because I've been like,
Right.
it's like, it's not a wage gap, my friends. It's an earnings gap.
Between all men and all women.
Right.
Not
No, that's-
between a single man and a single
Right.
woman.
And you know, if a man makes more money than a woman for doing exactly the same job, it's illegal. And like, nobody wants to hear that. Like, show me a man doing the same job as a woman where the woman makes less, and I will agree. Who's always says that? Is that a Rubenism? No, Shapiro does that.
Does what?
Show me a woman who makes less money than a man for doing the same job, and we will agree. But if you don't, that
does sound like
like
him.
you know, like it doesn't exist because it's illegal.
No, it exists. The issue is that it's based on contract negotiations, and this is what
Well,
the
they
research found.
on the whole,
right, women tend to be
they're not,
more
Here- here's
they're
what
not
happens.
as aggressive.
Yeah.
according
Well,
to Peterson.
It's not just that. It's that it's almost like guys don't care. They're willing to take bigger risks. This is a fact.
That's called testosterone.
It is.
Yeah.
And so it means a guy sits down for a job interview and he goes, I want $100,000. And he goes, well, we can't afford to pay $100,000. Well, then you can't afford to have me, can
Yeah,
you?
eat
And they'll
it.
go, okay, can you do 95? All right, I'll do 95. The woman comes in and they're more agreeable. This is scientific. I'm not trying to disparage anybody.
agreeableness. is
Some
an actual
women.
And you
character
can argue
trait.
agreeableness
Some
is,
women.
It's a bell curve.
but you can argue agreeableness is a better trait.
We're just arguing
But what
averages.
happens is they go into a job interview and they say, well, what's your offer? And they'll say 80,000. And they'll go, okay.
Let me call my husband.
Yeah.
No, they'll say okay. They'll say okay. I have these conversations with my female friends all the time. They're like, they're not paying me enough, and I was like, what'd you ask for? Well, they offered 50, and I'm like, did you ask for 60 or 70? No, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, go ask for it. Well, it's too late now. I already get the job. I'm like,
you're
well,
a
then what are you gonna do?
Yeah, but you're a misogynist, Tim. Here's the thing: there is 40,000 people watching. You are but 18,000 subscribers short
Of what?
of 1 million subscribers.
getting
on
close.
this
Yeah,
channel.
no.
Well, they're probably all subscribed.
It's going to be a golden YouTube button, or
If you're like me, there's like 40%.
you guys
of them
gotta
that are
subscribe
subscribed.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And leave
Take
a
this
like
to
on the
the
video.
top.
All right. Well, I don't know that has to do with the conversation about women not getting paid or
Well,
anything, but
There are a
anyway,
lot of women in the
subscribe.
crowd. I will pay you women equally if you leave a like.
Jordan
Oh,
And you
Peterson.
snap.
subscribe.
What are you gonna
Yeah.
give 'em?
Peterson's
Yeah.
this clinical
Let's
psychologist.
break 1 million
you probably know.
subscribers tonight.
Okay,
It can
Tell your
happen.
friends.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson has posted clinical data about agreeableness,
I
which is a
feel so-
personality trait.
I feel so bad
Yeah,
for
he got
him.
kind of raked for it. But women tend to be more agreeable on average, and that's because of their
Statistically.
communication skills in the family. It's about not
people.
shutting
Don't offend
people down. But men are. It's way easier for on average men to be less agreeable, which is why contract negotiations.
Men are stupider.
Right, we're
they're-
more what's the
It's
word
the
for
greater
it?
male
Combative.
variability
Pig-headed or
hypothesis.
competitive, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's the greater male variability hypothesis that women tend to cluster around the center of the bell curve, and men have a wider bell curve, meaning you are more likely to encounter a really dumb man.
And
You're
a
also
really
more
smart.
likely to encounter a really smart
Oh,
man.
that's interesting.
Every day.
Yeah.
So I thought about this too, because there's a trope about, women saying, God, men are so dumb, and like,
They're not wrong.
because
but men are also so
well, because
smart.
if you have 100 men and 100 women, you're going to have 10 dumb women, 80 average women, and 10 smart women. And if you have 100 men, you're going to have 20
right,
really
yeah.
dumb men.
You're gonna have some
60
savants.
average and 20 super
and the
smart men.
stupidest of humans will tend to be men.
Yes.
And the smartest humans will
Currently.
tend to be men.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here's what happens. If you have 100 men and 100 women, and you've got 20 male geniuses and 10 female geniuses, you now have 2 to 1 competing for the same job. Those aren't actual numbers. The statistics are probably very different.
That'd be if everybody in the
And-
world was applying for one job.
And let's say
Yeah.
there's 5 positions. There's 30 people, and 20 of them are guys. There's a very high probability it will be all 5 guys.
Yep. Yeah.
All 5.
That's how you
Not
end up with
because
all
of
the male
sexism,
CEOs.
but because you've got, if you reached your hand into a hat, okay, let's just do regular old
A
casino
sexism
probability.
hat.
No, regular probability. Say we're gonna do blind hiring. So we have the smartest women and the smartest men in this hat. We only have 5. You pull 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very strong likelihood. All dudes. All
right.
dudes.
Or 80%
And
of them.
if you take
yeah.
into account that the extremes tend to be male, and you're only trying to fill one role, which is the CEO of Google, you
gonna be a
you
dude.
look for the smartest human, which tends to be it's not always the case.
It's just
a
as
guy,
simple.
something. But
If
that's
you have-
smart.
listen.
Intelligence is a weird word too.
And the more people that exist, the bigger the gap becomes. Because if it's 2 to 1, you're going to have one job, the CEO of Google, and you're going to have 2 million guys and 1 million women. 2 million from each. So what they do then is you get these equity constructivist people who are like, well, then you have to choose the women. And it's like, that doesn't make sense either.
Well, that's how it is, though.
You pull him out of the
that's how
hat,
it is in the-
congratulations, you got a guy.
So in my day job, I have at least one Fortune 500 company that works for me, and I've seen this garbage on the internals of corporate culture, and it's real. It's not we need to hire the best person for the job. Not at the executive level, at the sales level, at any job that is like
Get woke, go broke.
yeah,
Dude.
not at the level where performance matters, but where the level where people see you.
Performance always matters, man. If
It
you've
does
got-
not.
especially in the military.
No, listen. If
Well, in
you've
the
got-
military,
That's
yeah.
I
Listen.
don't want to rear end the conversation,
yeah.
but that's
listen.
what I keep thinking
If
about.
let's say you have 100 employees and 80 do the actual birdhouse manufacturing, then you've got 10.
They're using McGinty screws probably too. Those.
Let's say you got 80 people actually doing the work. You got 10 people. You got 15 people in an administrative and managerial role, and then 5 executives. You put in one bad executive, and they start just doing weird things. Even if they're not involved in the day-to-day process, eventually an email pops up where they scream bigotry, disrupt operations, slug up the time, and then everything starts getting jammed up, and they will perform worse than a company that doesn't have that weirdo person.
Yeah, but that doesn't prevent them from getting the job. What I'm saying is that diversity quotas are freaking real. They're real, and if they can't fill it in an existing role, they create them, and that's
Right.
why you end up with the
Chief diversity
diversity
officer.
czar or whatever the hell it is. Yeah,
Chief diversity officer.
yeah, like that's what it. I mean, it's real. Like I'm not. I mean, that is.
You know what that
shouldn't
really
be
is?
controversial to say.
When they create the position called like the Office of Diversity, Inclusivity, and
By the way,
and-
it's
and
never
equity,
a man that has that job.
When they create these positions, they're basically akin to creating the Chinese Communist Party offices in Chinese businesses. They want their church in every company, and they're winning. They're getting these things. Imagine if every company had to have a Christian church and chaplain to administer the proper Christian ideology to what the business does. That's what they're doing with the diversity, inclusivity, and equity stuff.
Do you know how these job negotiations go? It's like the mob, or it's like getting when you're black and you get pulled over in a small town. Like, ooh, your taillight's out. Like, oh, that's a nice business you have there. Sure would be a shame if something happened to it. You should
If we
probably
accused you of being a bigot.
Yeah, you should probably hire me, I have $150,000 in college debt from Columbia, and I have a degree in gender studies. You should probably hire me as a diversity czar. If you look at every major video game company, Riot Games, Blizzard, they all have these roles, and they're all completely useless, and they all make huge money. It's like a mafia.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.